Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes Mr. Keating.
I just want to thank all our witnesses and all in the audience and anyone that's listening to this for their service. And I want to associate very strongly with your remarks. Given experience I've had, it's not as personal by any means. It's not as powerful by any means, but it's carved in my mind indelibly as a family of, as a Gold Star family in particular. It was in Helmand Province when, as a congressional member, I visited with the troops there and listened to our leaders in terms of strategy. And as often is the case with so many of us, we'll say, if there's anything I can ever do for you, I told the Marines that were protecting us, please let me know. And in this one instance, they said, well, sir, there is, if you would. And so that evening, I went to the marketplace in the village with them, and we went to meet a gentleman, a man that was there, and I found out that they wanted simply a member of Congress to thank this Afghan civilian because he was risking his life every day, telling them where the IEDs were planted, telling them what the strategies and the movements of the Taliban would be. And I asked him when I met him, I said, why are you risking your life to this extent to do that? And behind him, he reached back and pulled forward his 8-year-old boy. And he said, I just want him to have the same freedom, education that you have in your country here in Afghanistan. I'll never forget that moment. And those are the people you've been talking about, people that risk their lives to protect us and our soldiers. And we just don't owe these allies. We just don't owe them, I don't think. We would be benefited by their citizenship as Americans, with their shared values, with their demonstrated courage, and with their personal commitment to democratic values. They would be outstanding American citizens. And I don't want that point lost either. And I don't want another point lost, particularly with our witnesses here that served us so well. That's not to say thank you for what happened in those final days. Thank you for your bravery. We were briefed on the dangers that would occur in our classified briefings. It's the most dangerous part of the war, they said. And you were there. And some of your lives will never be the same, along with many of the colleagues you said, people that are injured physically, people with hidden injuries that will never quite be the same. But you helped save 120,000 people during that very difficult situation. That could have been better, but you did it. And there's 120,000 people just in those 15 days, 76,000 Afghans that were saved. Thank you. And that shouldn't be lost as we look at everything else and lessons learned. I know how difficult it was, not directly as you, but you know, our office was 24/7, and I was on the phone. I was actually on the phone with an Afghan family talking to, I'll just call it a U.S. official at the Abbey Gate. And as I was on the phone, explosions went off within their sight. And that's how dangerous this whole situation was. You experienced, and thank you for sharing so much more. But that commitment that we have, and I wasn't the only officer, other officers working, trying to extricate people, bring them here, get them beyond that danger and move them forward. But we worked together in doing that. We had direct effect with 62 individuals, and my staff was just didn't sleep. And one of them, by the way, left us this week and is going to go work for CARE. She was so moved as an Army veteran and person that worked in our office with this. She's now changed her career to help this, and that's important as well. And I hope we don't gather too much, but I'm running out of time. I'll just say this. The testimony, I read every word of it a couple of times, was very moving. Most important words that stuck out to me, beyond just looking at lessons learned or the bipartisan back and forth of whose fault it is. It's 21 years. There's a lot of fault to go around. But it was the words that Mr. Lucier said, it's not too late for us to evacuate our remaining Afghan allies and settle them in the United States. It's not too late. So I'll work with all of you, I pledge, not just as a co-sponsor, a proud co-sponsor of the Afghan Adjustment Act last Congress, and wanting to do that again in this Congress, and continuing to work with groups as we have like Afghan EVAC going forward. The purpose of this hearing, as was your purpose in serving, was to help other people. So let's take this hearing and put aside the who did it, and for once, in a bipartisan way, let's say, take the words that I just quoted Mr. Lucier of. It's not too late to go forward, and let's do that. And I yield back.